raising a child that allowing that child to fulfill their potential intellectually, at least early.
Yeah. I mean, reading is one of the few things with like sort of little kids that we kind of see these kinds of effects on sort of later test scores and talking. And there are there's some really interesting stuff about, the number of words that kids hear and how that differs across socioeconomic status. And just like, richer kids are just hearing more, they just hear more, literally more words than poor kids.
Well, I'm hoping that it makes a difference, because that's what we were taught when we had small kids at our house, and I would spend all this time reading to them. I mean, I read lots of books to all three of our kids, and I remember having a conversation with one of them and mentioning a book, and I said, "Oh, you've read that? You remember we read all of the Chronicles of Narnia, when you were growing up?" And they're like, "No, I don't remember any of that." Was this wasted effort? That was a lot of
time. So many hours. Those are long.
Are you kidding me? And they're like, "I don't remember any of that." But I'm hoping that this is what I tell myself, that it was the process of that mattered. That all our kids went on to be academically successful. And I'm hoping that it was that process, that verbal interaction, seeing the words and going through that resonates. And I'm hoping that's true. Don't dispel that myth for me if that's
no. That is not a myth. That is reading is among the most among the things where we have the best causal evidence, I think.
That's funny.
Do you ever feel bad that you're just like popping myths for people that they've held on to? Like,
yeah, sometimes. But then I make people feel better about stuff. So it's like a mixed bag.
Well, it cancels itself out then, I'm sure.
Cancels itself, exactly. I try to delete the negative emails.
That's good. I hope you don't get very many.
I'm surprised, but anyway.
Yeah. Hey, well, Emily, thank you so much for being with us. This is fun conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing the book that you've got coming out.
Family Firm, and on Amazon. Where can we get
Amazon it? Amazon and where books are sold.
I'm now a fan of this series, and it's, like I said, got nothing to do with my life plans.
You're gonna be so
eventually
ready. You're
gonna
make some woman so happy. You're gonna be like, well, all the things I know about nipples.
Yeah.
It's more like a full date conversation, so you should just see.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Decidedly. I hope you learned something. I know I did. If you thought our show was 5-star worthy, please check us out on iTunes and give us a 5-star review. It really helps out a lot, helps people find our community and defeat bad decision making in their own lives. Check us out at decidedlypodcast.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Decidedly Podcast. Until next time, I'm Sanger Smith with Sean Smith. This is Decidedly.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Decidedly Podcast. To be notified when new episodes are released, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And while you're there, drop us a 5-star review because it helps more people defeat bad decision-making right alongside you. For show notes, decision-making insights, more episodes, and links to resources mentioned in this episode, check us out at decidedlypodcast.com. If you'd like us to help you make a decision in your own life, drop us a note at decidedlypodcast.com/makemydecision for a chance to have your question featured in an upcoming episode. For more decision-making content, check us out on Instagram or Facebook at Decidedly Podcast. As always, thanks for listening. This is Decidedly. Insights, advice, and comments provided by Sean Smith, Sanger Smith, and speakers identified as part of the Decidedly Podcast should not be considered recommendations. Speakers who are not identified as members of Decidedly are expressing their own opinion, and their statements should not be construed as reflecting the views of the Decidedly team. This podcast is produced solely for informational purposes, not personalized advice.